taking the hair off of him.
So you're probably wondering how I got here. Did I lose a bet with my wife? Is it just that hot outside from global warming that I had to shave my head? This is the first time you've cut my hair.
It is the first time. It took a blunt trauma to the head.
That's right. Impact. We have been working on installing a fence through the woods. Had this line marked out by a surveyor. The line that I'm working on is about 330 feet long. It goes back through a wooded section of our property where we're going to be installing some T-posts because of the woods and the rocky ground. It's hard to get the tractor in there with a proper auger, and our hand auger is not going to make it in there. So we're using T-posts because you can drive them down into the ground. And we strung a twine line all the way down the fence line so that we could see where everything was going, and then I came back and started installing T-posts. You install T-posts by using a post driver, and this is basically a driver that has two handles on either side. It's a long, heavy tube that slides up and down the T-post, and as it comes down on the T-posts, it knocks them further into the ground. So it's kind of like you're tapping it into the ground with a sledgehammer, only a sledgehammer would likely be a mess. So these T-posts, these post drivers, are very effective at maintaining control. I just accidentally cracked my head open with the post driver on this post. You can see how it's wiggling right there. It was going in pretty good, but apparently I must have hit a rock or something down in there. When I came back up, the driver ricocheted off the top of the post. See how it's wiggling? And came back and hit me right on the crown of the head. I was tired, so I was bringing it down like this, which is bad news bears. It's good to take a break when you do this stuff. This time I split my head open. It's lots of blood. It was a painful sight. I can't tell how I feel about it now. I'm just kind of trying to take it easy and walk around, and I lost a lens to my sunglasses, so I thought I'd come out here and look for it, but I have a feeling I'm out of a pair of sunglasses, which stink. I love my sunglasses. Well, you know what they say. Carpe diem. Got a haircut. I have hit myself in the head numerous times driving T-posts, never to the extent of causing the trauma that I caused in this situation. I had a baseball cap on my head, and I had my sunglasses on top of the baseball cap. As it came back, it drove the sunglasses into my scalp and caused a lot more trauma than some of my past experiences, although I have also knocked myself out cold in other headwear, like a cowboy hat, where there weren't any cuts, but the impact was still pretty severe. So it's important to remember that when you're working outside and you're doing things where you're slamming anything that could be up over your head, even swinging an axe. I've heard stories of axes bouncing off of a piece of wood in an odd way and coming back over people's heads. All of these activities where we're swinging things could cause an injury to our heads. And so it's important to wear a helmet when you're doing this type of work, and not just go out and think, well, you know, this is just typical ranch work. I'm going to slam these posts in the ground. It's not worth the trauma. Luckily, Shauna was bringing me lunch, so she was nearby when it happened. She heard something and stopped and waited to see me. When I came out of the woods, I was bleeding so bad she had to rinse me down with a hose just to see where the blood was coming from. I will say that for her and I to be sharing the same faith, that's extremely important, because we were able to focus and react positively to the situation and get it under control because of our reliance on that faith. And I know that not everybody is faithful, and not everybody that watches our channel is faithful, and I'm not saying you have to be. in situations like this, I find it to be extremely helpful. It can really change the outcome of things. It's only been a few days and I'm already back out here doing work. Faith does a lot of things. It's a good source of protection, action, and resolve that I don't think I could get anywhere else. The other thing is just wearing the proper safety gear going forward. Knowing that anytime you do anything where you're swinging anything over your head, anything could happen. I am one of those people myself where you could tell me 100 times that I need to be more careful. I need to wear the proper headgear. I need to wear protective clothing when I'm operating a chainsaw. Whatever it is, I am the type of person who will just kind of nod my head and go do it anyway. Accidents do happen, and they can be prevented by just using a little bit of wisdom. It's really not worth it to be taken out of commission for several days when you're trying to get projects done because you weren't wise in the first place. It's really not worth it to put your family through a scare or anything like that because you decided that you didn't want to be wise and put a helmet on your head. I bought a Husqvarna elevation helmet. I was hoping I could share it with you for this video, but the retailer that I bought it from sent me the wrong helmet. They sent me the Husqvarna Spire helmet. Both helmets are highly rated helmets. The Spire helmet actually is better for conditions where you're working with electricity because it has the ability to absorb some of the shock. But the elevation helmet is vented, and that's one of the things that's important to me because I'm working on a ranch. I'm working out in the sun and the heat. If I'm going to wear a helmet, I need something to be comfortable in, and so I chose that particular helmet. The main thing I like about the arborist style helmets, for the professional arborist style helmets, is that they are a little more, as far as their fit, they're a little more maneuverable. They allow you to work your way around things. I went with part of the elevation helmet and the Spire helmet are both made for climbing arborists. So that'll give you an idea of that their protection is a solid amount of protection for what you need. Allows a lot of maneuverability of your head. The elevation again is vented, so it allows some coolness, but they're not bulky like some of the more technical helmets that you might have for forestry and ground use. So if you're like me and you realize, hey, I need to be wearing something, but I don't want to be wearing something that's too bulky, too much in my way, any of the arborist helmets made for professional climbing arborists are going to have a little more flexibility, a little bit of a more secure attachment to your head. And for a lot of the chainsaw work you do, they're very much recommended. And if they're made to take the impact of a tree falling on you and give you some protection, they'll handle a post driver. Those are things that we need to keep in mind when we're working out on properties like this. And we need to, not just for ourselves, but for our family and for everybody else, just focus on wisdom, being smart, staying up to date with our faith and our beliefs so that we can react, and also being wise from the get-go and making sure that we have the right protective gear on. That'll make a big difference in your life, and it will prevent you from ever having an accident that slows you down and keeps you from accomplishing some of the things that you wanted to accomplish. Now I actually have to work in hotter weather because we're going through a heat wave, but I can't stop the work that we have to get done. So it really turned out to be an inconvenience all the way around. But I wanted to just kind of throw this out there and remind people the importance of being safe. I think that you can find some stylish options in safety gear and feel comfortable wearing things like helmets and not feel ridiculous. I mean, it's not at all ridiculous, even in installing T-posts, to wear a protective helmet. So I hope you guys stay safe out there. I hope that, if you're like me, you're gonna watch this video and be like, that's not gonna happen to me, and go do it anyway. But hopefully by doing this video, I speak to somebody and, we prevent somebody else from making the same mistake that I have made and just not focusing on safety. That should be our primary goal when we go out into the fields to work, is how are we being safe? Because our safety does impact others. It impacts our families, it impacts the timeline of projects if we have an accident. And accidents can be completely prevented. I've always said there's no such thing as an accident, because if you're using wisdom and you're paying attention and you're doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, an accident couldn't happen. If I had had a helmet on my head instead of a baseball cap and sunglasses, when that post driver hit my head, it wouldn't have made a difference. And so the accident wasn't something that was out of control. It was something that was completely in control. I just chose not to make the right decision ahead of time.